So what sort of specific questions were you hoping to answer from the outset?
Well, we wanted to get a consistent view of what the current position of water resources are. So where are the shortages of water now and in the last, say, 50 years? Where have been the floods? Where are the droughts? Where are these things changing as well? The climate is always changing. Some of it we think is being affected by man-made changes, but so we needed to get that, and then in a consistent way we wanted to make predictions of from where we are now to where we might be in the next 10, 50 and 100 years.
And what is that looking like, that 10, 15, 50, 100 years?
Well, I mean, we know, even from the basic physics, we know that temperature is going to increase with increasing greenhouse gases. Increasing temperature is going to change the other components of what we call the water cycle. So it will increase evaporation, both from the land and the oceans. That puts more water into the atmosphere, and that water has to go somewhere, so it comes down as more rainfall. So we know over the whole globe that rainfall is likely to increase. But it's a little bit more complicated than that, because the distribution of rainfall is determined by the weather patterns, by the big depressions, the big anticyclones that we all see on our weather charts, and how those are affected by changing greenhouse gas concentrations is very, very difficult to predict. But what we have seen, or not what we've seen, but what the climate models agree on, are there certain areas in the world that are going to get wetter, and those areas tend to be up in the high latitudes, up in northern Russia and northern Canada and Alaska and such like. And there are areas which is agreement that that will get drier, and the Mediterranean is a good example of that, where there's predictions of considerably drier conditions.
So overall, the implications, if you say it's going to get wetter in northern latitudes, the obvious question is, well, does that matter? You know, how many people is it going to affect, and what effect will it have?
Well, that particular example, it may not matter too much, although it provides an opportunity in those areas for increased activities up there, particularly if they're getting warmer. Some of these areas actually are quite dry. Some of the Siberian forests actually only have a rainfall of a few hundred millimetres a year, and actually increasing rainfall will potentially help there. Obviously, some of the areas that are getting drier, and particularly, and again, the Mediterranean is a good example, that's already an area which is both, well, doesn't have a large rainfall, and the water resources in that area are obviously already heavily overexploited.